1-8-PRAGER-776 is the number. Do you resonate to this? That this is the great battle? Have you taught your kids this way? Don't feel bad. Most parents don't. Most Jewish and Christian parents don't. Forget most secular parents don't. It's been forgotten that this is the great battle. This is the only way to make a better world. You want to make a better world. The only way is to have people battle their heart and their feelings. That's one of the reasons I am enamored of biblical wisdom, which tells you that the heart is the worst place to trust. It's over and over. Don't trust the heart. So back to the dog stranger. So I have asked kids since I was in my 20s. Now, I don't mean little kids. I've asked basically high school seniors and college kids. Would you save your dog or a stranger, both, or your pet? If you love your pet and your pet and a stranger were drowning, who would you try to save first? I know you'd want to save both. Who would you save first? I've never gotten more than a third voting for the stranger. Never. Either they don't know or they vote for their pet. Why? I love my dog, I love my cat, and I don't love the stranger. Which particularly conflicts with the biblical injunction to love the stranger. There's no law to love your pet. Just thought I'd throw that in. I have no problem with your loving your pet. None. I have a problem with your being guided by your feelings of love to determine what you think is right. If kids are brought up like that, you have a much better chance for a good society. For all the things that people talk about, who revere feelings, a compassionate society, a kind society, a fair society, you name it. If people know they have to battle themselves. We continue on the Ultimate Issues Hour. I'm Dennis Prager. Hi, everybody. Dennis Prager here. The Ultimate Issues Hour. The ultimate issue is that a feelings-based society is going to lead to moral chaos, and that the traditional Judeo-Christian value systems, and by the way, just a parenthetical note, please don't send me an email that, well, yeah, I take it back. You can send me any email you want. I don't want to inhibit you. But I can respond to you in advance. What do you mean by Judeo-Christian? They have such different theologies. Yes, so what? I don't talk about Judeo-Christian theology. Nobody does. We talk about Judeo-Christian values. And that is what formed America. That's why this is the country that used the term more than any other in history, far more. Anyway, that's a separate subject, too. The point is that what they taught was self-discipline. Self-discipline is probably not even a term used. I wonder if kids would even know what it means, let alone moral self-discipline. By the way, let me answer the issue on the dog stranger. What if the stranger is Osama bin Laden? Oh, we have that? Oh, good. Perfect. Scottsdale, Arizona. And Anthony. Hello, Anthony. Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis. It's actually two similar questions, and I'm just interested in knowing. I kind of know what I would do. I certainly would save a stranger over my pet. You were at a lake someplace, and your dog and a stranger were both drowning. I'd save the stranger. I might not be happy about it, but what if you knew he was a murderer and your pet? And then the second question is, what if you were in a screaming fight with someone, and then they fell in the water and they were drowning, your dog was drowning? Which one would you save?
Okay. All right, you're right. No, they're very separate issues, because I could have a screaming fight with a non-murderer, and that's why the mind has to be the seat of morals, not the heart.
Yes.
So let me answer you in each case. The first case is, since we don't know who a murderer is, let's imagine I do know. Let's say it's Osama bin Laden drowning, or Hitler, or Stalin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the answer to that is that the dog is irrelevant to the question. If Hitler were drowning, I'd help him drown.
Okay.
So, of course, I would save a leaf before I would save Hitler.
Okay.
I mean, so it's irrelevant. I want mass murderers to die, so I would help them drown. And so the issue is not even an issue. As regards the person I just had a screaming fight with, unless I just had a fight with a Ku Klux Klan, guy who had just lynched a black, then it would be irrelevant that I had a fight with somebody. I would save them first because I'm saving a principle. The issue of whether I like the person I just had a fight with is irrelevant. But because I am a religious person, I know that God wants me to save the person first, not the murderer first, because God believes murderers should be put to death. But
okay, all right, and I agree with all that, and I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot here, but let's say there was, in pardon the phrase, an everyday murderer, a guy who you knew had killed a couple of people. You knew it.
Yeah. Okay. So then the question again, the dog's drowning is irrelevant. Would I save that person? And if the answer is if I would save that person in any event without a dog, then I would save the person even if there were a dog. And if I wouldn't save the person, then I wouldn't save the person, and I would save the dog. The issue is the person worthy of death? In very few instances am I the person to make that judgment. But in certain cases, I would be. And so in those cases, the presence of a dog or a cat or a cockroach is irrelevant. And by the way, let me turn the tables around to the folks who think that the Osama bin Laden challenge is good. What if somebody had a pet cockroach and they loved it? Now, that sounds a little bizarre. Okay, there are a lot of kids who love their pet mouse. They do. Okay, they watch it turn that wheel around all day and get a big kick out of it, and that's fine with me. What would you say if they saved their mouse before a human? Then you'd be a little troubled, wouldn't you? But why? Why? They're doing the exact same thing the person who saved their dog or cat is doing. They're being governed by their heart. Now, if you don't condemn it in the case of the dog, you can condemn it in the case of the mouse. The age of feelings is what we live in. How do you feel about it has supplanted, is it right or wrong? I'm Dennis Prager. Dennis Prager here on the Ultimate Issues Hour. Each week, third hour of the Tuesday, what is today, Tuesday, right? Tuesday show is devoted to some great issue of life. I have decided to rename the age of stupidity the age of feelings. That's what we are in. How you feel about it is the question that is asked rather than is it right or wrong. That was the Judeo-Christian question. Today's question is how do you feel about it? The results are there to be seen. Okay, let's go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Sean. Hello, Sean. Dennis Prager.
Hey, Dennis.
Hi.
I just want to say I love your show.
Great, thank you.
Really great.
It's a credit to you. At 29, not everybody's
29,
listening.
Next month.
28. Cool.
I'm approaching the hill. So.
You are.
Yeah, unfortunately. It happens to us all, I guess.
It does. Well, it's better than the alternative. Just remember that.
I agree with you there. I had a question. I wanted to know if you feel that there are ever circumstances when it is okay to be governed by your emotions, and if so, what are those circumstances?
I can't think of any offhand.
Okay.
No, I wish I could. I'm not trying to I'm not at all furthering my argument. I don't know when it would be to be where they lead the way. I mean, sometimes I guess an emotion will overcome an inclination to do the wrong thing. Then obviously an emotion being led by your emotions would be a good thing.
How about in marital relations?
No, that's probably the worst place.
Why do you say that?
Oh, because if you let your emotions govern you, then first of all, ask any married couple whether they are as in love every single day of their 40 years of marriage or 25 years or 20 years or 10 years as every other day. And if that's what governs how they treat the other person, that marriage is doomed. You treat your spouse beautifully because it's the right thing to do, not just because you're relying on your feelings to do so.
Excellent. I'm convinced.
Good man. You are a good man. Yeah, I hope he gets a good wife. Is he going to get a good wife, Sean? What do you think? What are the odds? Let me know if you got a good wife. All right, where are we going? Line 5? I hate when talk show hosts do that. Hope, Fort Worth, Texas. Hi, Hope. Dennis Prager.
Hi.
Hey, by the way, would you like to marry the last caller?
Sorry, I'm already married.
All right. Okay. Hey, I don't want to cause trouble. Go ahead.
Anyways, just like you were telling the last caller, I was kind of calling in to give that observation that before my husband and I got married in January, I spent a lot of time thinking about just why marriages weren't working or whatnot, and I did become convinced that it was because of this age of feelings, that we are focused too much on how we feel towards our partner than, like you said, what we should do. And I was just calling in to get your input, and then I realized, you agree. So if you have any more comments on that, I'd be willing to hear them.
Yeah, look, he asked me a very fair question. Can I think of anywhere where emotions should be the primary motivator of behavior? I couldn't think of any. And so he said, well, what about marriage? Thinking that it was, like the movies, you're just, all you are is feeling unbelievable love at all times, and that you can rely on that. By the way, even if you do feel in love all the time, you can't rely on your emotions to know what's right. You could be totally in love with your partner and act very moody.
Right.
And that's that's wrong. Yeah. So even that doesn't work. Listen, I thank you too. Your husband's a lucky man that at such an early age of 19, you're thinking in these mature ways, and that's another term that we have abolished. Mature. You find me. I would love to put a list of things. This would be great. Somebody needs to do this. If you're a teacher in college or high school, I want you to do this. I want you to put a list of things, asking kids what they want to be, and have them enumerate the numbers. So happy, successful, smart, mature. By the way, if they're all tied, they could say tied. But I don't know if there are 55 kids in America who want to be mature. The word is almost pathetic. I want to be mature. Give me a break, man. Want to be mature. Where the hell are you from? The word is dead, let's be honest. All right? 1-8-Prager-776. And let's go to Fort... Oh, we just did that. that's I never do that one. Okay, let us go to Sacramento, California. Daniel. Hello, Daniel. Dennis Prager.
Hey, what's going on? First time calling in. I listened to your show for a couple weeks ago, and I say that I love the show. You're a great guy.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Daniel. Go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to attack the original premise of your who would you save, your pet or a stranger. First, say that I wouldn't have to say my pet because my pet's a beta fish right now.
Wait. Your pet is a fish?
Yeah.
No. That happened to me. What you are joking about happened. I asked a bunch of elementary school kids once at a synagogue in New York, who would you save your if they were both drowning, your pet or a stranger? One kid said the stranger, and I asked him why, and he said because my pet is a fish, so, which caused massive pandemonium in that place. It was a ride. All right, stay tuned. I'm going to stay on with you. I'll take your call. Yeah, that was. I couldn't believe an 8-year-old would be so adamant. No, I would save a stranger. I said, do you love your pet? He said, yeah, I really love my pet. I said, well, I'm just out of curiosity. What's your pet? A fish. And I'm not sure that he was kidding. You know what I'm saying? I think, he was an 8-year-old. He didn't know how to joke about this stuff. Back in a moment, you're listening to the Ultimate Issues Hour Dennis Prager Show. All righty, everybody. Dennis Prager here. Final segment of this edition of the Ultimate Issues Hour about the key to life or good life is battling your feelings and being a better person. Daniel in Sacramento, back to you, sir.
Yes, I wanted to attack the original premise of who would you save, your pet or a stranger or a person. And the reason why I want to attack it is when a previous caller asked what about Hitler, the problem with it is that the view of the person is not taken into account, regardless of what a stranger does, whether they're Hitler or Gandhi or Martin Luther King or George Bush. They should always be saved. Not saving someone is not a Judeo-Christian value. Saving someone, regardless of what they have done, is a Judeo-Christian value.
No, it's a Daniel value. It has nothing to do with Judaism or Christianity, as I, who am 3 times older than you, almost have studied my whole life. And I don't want to pull rank on you. I am pulling rank on you. It's not my intent, but I have to say, what you said you made up. That is not true, because Judaism and Christianity allow for capital punishment.
No, Judaism and Christianity allow for a God to work.
No, I'm sorry. They allow... Read the Bible. I can't argue Daniel. I can only argue... If you claim biblical basis, I can argue what the Bible says. The Bible says, when God creates the earth, he says, by man shall man's life be taken if he has shed blood. I don't know. So I don't know what you want to do with it. If you believe that it is important to save Hitler so that he can go on and murder millions more, that you would attach that to Judaism or Christianity is very, very sad to me. What can I say?
No,
it's middle of World War II. Middle of World War II. You're walking by the Rhine River and Hitler's drowning. You'd save him, and you would call that Judeo-Christian.
I would, because that's the message of Jesus.
Oh, so Jesus? You think that Jesus would have saved a mass murderer?
Oh, I think he would have done it with his arms tied behind his back.
Okay, good. Look, folks, let's listen. Daniel, forgive me because we're running in the last minute. This is invaluable to me that my listeners hear this. And I have to say this, and Daniel, I hope I don't alienate you because this is the last thing I want to do. But I have to be honest. That people believe that it bothers me, but not 1/10 as much as when people believe that and attach it to Judaism or Christianity. Then there is no hope for the Western world. Jesus would save a mass murderer in the middle of his committing mass murder. Especially one doing it to his fellow Jews. It's historically and morally and theologically unbelievable. Anyway, that's why I gave this talk. 800-225-8584 if you want it. Thanks for listening.